Okay, so I wanted to talk about this because this is interesting. Mayowa's World was trying to claim that Pinky is digitally lightening her skin. Um, I think it's this. I'm like, it doesn't to me look like she's digitally lightening her skin. To me. But I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what kind of camera she has or anything of that nature. The thing is, I find it weird that there would be a sense of the internet basically having a fit over this lady named Pinky because her skin looks a little bit lighter in the camera. To me, if you look at it, most cameras make people look lighter. So it's not really that shocking to me. I want to give an example. See, for example, I would think looking at her, well, let me start off. I want to show some of the video. Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say. Hi, welcome to Mayowa's World. Hi y'all, my name is Mayowa. If you're new to my channel, I like to discuss topics around colorism, featureism, texturism, anything under the umbrella of anti-blackness. Today we are going to be talking about colorism. We're going to be discussing how Pinky Doll has been able to use AI to cosplay as light skin. Y'all know I like making up words. So we're calling this the light skinification of AI. So Pinky Doll is a live streamer who went viral for her NPC play. Gang gang. Ice cream so good, thank you, Jackie. Gang gang, gang gang, gang gang. Oh, special, gang gang. NPC is a non-playable. Yeah, she doesn't look light skinned to me. She doesn't look like she's actually light or like she would possibly be in that range. To me, she would look more like dark skinned there. This is why some people always get surprised when I would say, like, certain people look dark on the camera, and they'd be like, no, that's a brown skinned person, a light skinned person, all this stuff. And I would be saying this because I don't know if she's using the inner camera to your camera, but for me, whenever I use my inner camera, I look a lot lighter. Okay, so for example, I wanted to show myself. Wait, let me see. Yeah. So this is how I look in the outer camera right here. On the Kim Kardashian doesn't look biracial. This is how I normally look. I'm the same color here on the photo Chrissy is silly. But you can tell I am very washed out. And if you look at the video itself,
a main part of Chrissy's channel is specifically mainly
see, my neck, everything is much lighter than my face over here. It's just what it is. And to me, I don't see that as lightening. It's just a matter of, wait. Sorry about that. But yeah, I don't see it as specifically because instances you have options. Now, people's on their you pretty much have option. Option is to specifically You have two options. One,
I had to really over the years I really
stop. Okay. You have only basically two options in those situations. One, you could turn your camera around and it show your complexion as is, but then the problem is you can't see what you look like. It's hard to do
where you're not looking into the screen because you really can't if you're not looking at yourself, while the inner camera shows your face while you're talking. So though it looks extremely pale, it's more functional to me. And so that's why, to me, it's like, to me, she's darker than I am, as you can tell in her real photo of her color. And then her lighter photo, she's darker still. You can see more video of her depicting her. See, you can still see like that gray, like that kind of like that beige hue. For me, when the light hit my skin, it would always brighten out unless I go out in more of a darker area. So to me, it's like, I don't think she actually is lightening her skin. I think specifically in these videos, she's just using the inner camera to her videos. When you use an inner camera, you look a lot lighter. That's why I always say you can't detect with someone's skin tone by looking on the video, because your skin can look different ways due to lighting. There's a lot of like light brown skinned black people who people will be like, oh, you look like you're like white, or you have like really light skin. Mike TV is one of those people. And you can tell he said it before that it's just the lighting. He doesn't specifically look that pale in person. There's several people who are like this, where when you use your inner camera, you're going to look a lot lighter than what you ever look in person. I never look as light as I do on my inner camera. In real life, I am always a light brown or a medium brown in the summer. I guess you guys like to call it medium. I think 450 and darker is kind of hidden dark, or it's getting there. That's just my view. But anyway, my whole point is, specifically, I don't think this girl is specifically faking her skin tone. I think if you want to take it to anyone, take it to those who make cameras. Why is the inner camera lighter? I don't get that. Why is the inner camera lighter? But when you take a photo from the front of your camera, it works out. When you do a video from the front of your camera, it works out. The problem with that situation is you can't say anything on a video where you're doing the front camera, because if you do, you don't know if your face is in the camera. You don't know if you're looking at the ceiling and the camera is over there, because it's just like you can't really have a connection like you can if it's from the front and you're actually looking at yourself on screen while you're doing the video. It's just like, I don't understand, why do they encourage us to use the inner video and the inner camera, which makes you look a lot paler, which is a major reason why, for me, I've always tried to turn off the light and go into darker areas when I do videos, because it confuses people. And it's like, well, that's not really my natural color. That's just me doing a video in a bright area and with the inner camera, which makes everybody wash out. Okay, look, this dark-skinned girl, I think this is how I feel, because her lighting to me looks similar, where it looks like it's washing things out, and then you can see that gray base underneath. And that's the thing with dark-skinned people that look like her. They literally have that gray base underneath. When you're light brown, you don't really have a gray base. You have more of a pasted out base. And then light-skinned people, they just look completely white. So I just don't understand why people don't realize that, it's not specifically that anyone is trying to make themselves look a certain way. I do think in this video, she's talking about, Mayo World is talking about Pinky, of which he is specifically trying to say, oh, she's wearing a blonde wig. So why is it not colorist to point out that a dark-skinned black woman is wearing a blonde wig, but every other time it is? Like, you guys say A$AP Rocky was racist, or not racist, but colorist, by saying that dark-skinned black women couldn't wear red lipstick, when people clown dark-skinned black women for wearing blonde hair, you say it is colorist. But then at the same time, you want to attack someone for wearing a blonde wig just because they're in a different lighting. I think that's because it annoys you if it makes them look ambiguous because of a ring light or a lighting in the inner camera, based in the inner camera, of which people with these cameras may not be able to control that much. I mean, like, for me at least, I just got a phone that was feasible for me to have. I don't know about her. But to me, it just seems like, well, it doesn't seem like that's specifically trying to do anything. It seems like it's specifically, if the camera is making you lighter, wearing a blonde wig is not wrong, you know? And I don't think she's contouring her face. Her nose looks wide as hell. I'm not trying to insult her, but in this photo here, her nose is very wide. Her eyes are wide set-ish. Not completely. She has that pretty black girl phenotype. And pretty black girl phenotypes always have eyes on the front of their head, basically, and the nose with the septum that is prominent, basically. You can have a broad nose with that, but that's usually the pretty dark-skinned black girl phenotype. You can look at any pretty black model, actress, singer, anybody. All the celebrities usually have that phenotype. It's very rare you'll see some with wide space eyes, almond-shaped eyes, and flatter features. But my whole point is that specifically, I don't think she's really doing anything to her features. It's just that it's a different color. And like I said, it's even very interesting because look, in some of the video, let me see if I can, I don't know, actually, I just touched it with wet hands.
A non-playable character, a term used to refer to people who are like background in video games and AI.
You see how in this video right here, her body, the further it gets from the light, the further it gets better to the color she actually is. That's how that type of camera is. It's like the further away from the camera, the inner camera, the more you're going to see like a darker grayish on her body. That's why I'm saying I don't think she's lightening or trying to make herself look lighter. It's just the way the lighting on the camera is. So you can't say she's cosplaying as light skin, I don't think. It's just that she owned a camera that's feasible probably for her, and this is how it came out. Maybe I don't understand. Why hasn't anyone complained about this in the past? Why are inner cameras making people lighter than what they naturally are? Isn't that pretty colorist? I mean, people had a fit when Beyonce was made shades lighter on a magazine, but you can't have that same energy with cameras who are literally making black people look a lot lighter. And people in general lighter. I was actually looking at other people saying the difference between the inner part of their camera and the outer part of their camera. And every person of every race was a lot brighter in the inner camera. It's just that people have more of a fit with black people because they feel like dark skin, especially like dark skin like hers, is really different from any other color. So if you can't see it, they feel like it's hidden or we should always be able to see it on them. As if, it's so important to see because you want to judge them for being darker. It's just so sick, It's not that big of a deal. Honestly, to me, why is it a big deal if we can see her color on the screen or not? We know what her natural color is, I do think, like I said, for certain platforms, it is problematic. When I'm talking about being a light brown skinned girl, and people are looking at me and they're thinking that I'm in the inner camera and I'm looking a lot lighter, they think that there's a lot more confusion there because they don't realize that's not my real color. But how else am I supposed to do a video properly where I can actually see myself and conduct that video, it's hard to have any other option unless I wanted to invest in actually a better camera. But I do not want to put money into something I'm not making money off of. I don't make money off of my YouTube channel. So for me, it's just like, it's hard to communicate in that regard. And I would say for her, if she was talking about being a dark-skinned black woman, it would be hard for her to communicate, and she would get attacked often simply because she's using her inner camera. Like, if it was a filter, filters don't specifically, I don't think, show, like, yeah, I'm thinking of, sometimes I've used filters to see how it looks. I just used one like a month ago, I think, but I've never posted any videos of myself in a filter. Well, one that makes you look lighter. I've used ones that are darker, but especially when you look pale in the inner camera and you want it to look better. But I mean, when from what I've seen, the body is not darker like hers. The body is going to go pale. Like, the whole body is going to be white. And filters are very strong too. Like, for me, I don't have any like light skin or gray color when I...
This trend like really took off on TikTok.
Anyway, I don't usually have any light skin or any color to my skin. I'm completely white skin basically when I use a filter. I've never really been like that though, because I don't like how that looks. It's kind of weird to me. But with her, if she were using a filter, she probably wouldn't look this gray on her body. She wouldn't look dark, because that is a telltale sign to you that she is not light skin, one, and she's not even brown. Because for caramel people, when our bodies are on the camera, it turns very yellow. Okay, it turns very pale. Like, my chest would be very pale, my inner arms would be very pale, my shoulders, maybe that might be a little bit different because I do have a tan there and it can get really deep. But generally, she's showing the outer part of her arm and her stomach. Her stomach is very dark. These are signs that this is not a filter. This is a camera that is done from the inner camera, not the outer camera. So I don't think she's doing anything to her skin tone. She's just, I mean, why are inner cameras not catering to black skin? It sounds a bit tone deaf, maybe a little racist, colorist.
TikTok. And I think that who made it viral at this time is Pinky Doll. She would do these like really animated responses, and a lot of her responses have just gone viral because of how she's delivering it, her voice and her aesthetic. Recently,
and that's what I'm saying. Exactly why I call people who look like that to be more on the, I guess, dark skin side. I've said this several times and people would freak out on me, but it's like, if someone looks like a light brown hue on camera, that means they're dark brown, because they're usually using the inner camera. If I use the inner camera, I'm not light brown. I'm going to be a whole very pale light shade. It is what it is. That's the more functional side of the camera, and that's what most people use, because how are you going to use the outer part of your camera? You can't even see yourself while you're doing the video.
Pinky Doll was at an awards show, and it has come to everyone's attention that she does not look like the character that she is cosplaying at, that in fact she is a brown-skinned girl, a monoracially black person.
That's so weird you called her brown skin. Like, I wanted to correct that too. There's nothing brown skin about this color. Nothing. Okay, she is not brown skin. My old world is not brown skin. They're very dark skin. Like, very dark skin. That's all it is. It's just dark skin. Okay? But that's important to show that this is how dark skinned people look when they go in brighter lighting with more so a situation where they have the camera on the other side, I think. And I don't mean bright lighting. I don't know. Some people say you're in too bright a lighting. To me, I think a bathroom is brighter lighting, is what I'm saying. You're not in an area where it's too dark to read, basically. If you're in an area where it's too dark to read, then the camera is going to make you look a little bit better and a little more brown and more similar to your color. But sometimes it is depressing doing videos in the dark. It is depressing doing videos where the blinds are closed and where you're just basically turning off all your lights. You know, it's no fun having a dark room and trying to do videos. No one really wants to watch videos that are just done in a very dark area, in a gloomy area for that matter, you know. So that's why people have brighter lighting. But that's not even bright lighting, that's just normal lighting. Like bright lighting would be like several lights, not just one regular light that, you know, lights up your room. So anyway, my point is, I get tired of people like Mayo of World who don't want to actually call their skin what it is. It's dark skin. It's like me not wanting to call myself light brown. I'm light brown. I have no issue calling myself light brown. You know, I'll say like on my unexposed skin, I do have lighter skin, you know, than my light brown skin. But what I've always identified as is light brown. You know, and I don't understand why people can't be proud of what they are. You know, Crystal Swirls was talking about this, saying like, you know, be proud of what you are, you know, and you know, claim what you are. You know, it's okay if you're brown, claim you're brown. If you're dark, you're dark. If you're light brown, you're light brown. You know, it's simple like that. But yeah, anyway, continue.
I love you. I love you.
When I first saw Pinky Doll, I thought she was a racially ambiguous person. I did not know. I thought maybe she was mixed race, but she is significantly darker when we saw her outside of her character and outside of the internet. I'm seeing a lot of discourse online. I was seeing people who were really upset that she wasn't light-skinned. I was seeing a lot of people talk about how they wanted to cancel her because she was.
It's weird though. I've seen several people online that look like her, and they would people would always push them to be light skinned, and it would be weird to me because it's like their lighting is like that, which is obviously from an inner camera, and it would to me be like, well, you know, you have to add several shades when you see that it's from an inner camera, you know, because the way the lighting is going to make the camera look in those photos is they're going to look light brown. You know, that doesn't mean they actually are. But, you know, I don't understand why people didn't realize that. I mean, like, don't they do videos ever or photos ever with the inner camera? Don't you see what you look like? Or are you that dark that you could go in an inner camera and still look dark? I don't know who the fuck you are. If you can do that, that's amazing. That is amazing. I never would think anyone dark skinned could go in the inner camera and actually still look dark. I honestly would dare any dark skinned person to come on camera with their inner camera and show how they actually are still dark after going under that inner camera, because it's so hard to even create color for light brown skinned people. I mean, when I tan, it's somewhat possible to create some color because I finally tanned. But even then, my body still is going to be the same because it's not going to tan equally as my face. So it's still going to be like no color, basically. I don't see any dark-skinned black person able to actually produce color, even though I do understand there are black people who are super, super dark. Like we have the Sudanese. Maybe they can actually come on screen and actually be dark still in an inner camera. But most black people are going to look light brown like her when they go in an inner camera. That doesn't make them light brown. It doesn't make them close to light skin. It just means that the inner camera makes everybody look lighter than what they are, you know.
Wasn't as light as she had appeared. And I was also seeing on the other side of the internet of people who were really praising her and saying, you know, you got to do what you got to do to get to the top. I'm going to talk about how I feel from a colorism standpoint and just what my thoughts are. When I saw Pinky Doll at the award show, I actually didn't even know that was her because she does look so different than what we see online. And then the next thought I thought was like, was this some kind of performance art? Like, is she like a Maria Abramovich? You know, is she like, I was like, you know, is this some kind of like cultural prank? You know, the only person I had ever as like a when Spice was promoting the song that she had, she like put out images of her really, really light, and that's how she went viral. And then she was doing it to bring attention to colorism. So I was like, is this what's going on? I don't think so. I have a feeling, and I'm like surprised.
No, the difference with what you're showing with that lady to me is a lot different. Okay, for one, Spice is very dark. And then the photo before was like an attempt to reach white. That is not what you see with Pinky. Pinky is more like a warm, deep, dark chocolate brown. And then you see a more gray, light brown. That's more in common with like Beyonce, I would say. Her color kind of represented more like Beyonce, maybe, you know, maybe could mimic caramel or something of that nature. Not quite actual light skin, in my opinion. That is very different than someone very dark trying to reach white. That is just lighting. You know, that is just simply the camera doing some weird shit in the inner camera because that's what inner cameras do. You know. So, continue though.
So doing it, but I do form of digital, and this is not something that I think that Pinky, the only person who does this. I think AI is naturally everybody like. I'm gonna talk more about that later in the video. What I find really funny about this whole conversation is like people want to act like colorism doesn't exist, but as soon as it does not match who she shows online, everyone notices. Can point it out. Everyone can say, why is she darker? Like, no one is acting like they can't see color or we're all one race. People are visibly pointing it out. So I'm like, if you can see a shade, when people change shades, definitely know that colorism exists. It's just what you want to choose to pay attention to, because there was people who were genuinely upset that she wasn't as light as she is. But my whole standpoint on this is that I don't know what Pinky's intention is, but the filters that she uses, skin, slenders her nose, and you know, these things to being more racially ambiguous. And I
don't think it slenders her nose. To me, it looks wide. Look, maybe you're looking at makeup, maybe, but look at her from the side. The nose is obviously a flatter nose, and the nose does look like it has rounded nostrils to me. I don't see that quite going on. And like I said, I don't think it's a filter quite, at least on a color basis, because her body is still so much darker. One. And with cameras, like I said, when it's an inner camera, where your light focuses on your face, usually. That's where you're supposed to angle it, at least. And then the other parts of your body are going to be less. And because of the way the lighting is on the camera, it's always going to show more color with the other body parts, basically. So to me, I don't see that part. I do agree that cameras are making people lighter. And the inner camera literally makes people lighter. And the only issue with this is black people. Black people are the only ones who have an issue with the fact that the inner camera makes people look lighter. Every other race seems to be fine with the fact that it's brightening people up. It's no big deal. But when it's a black person, it's a big deal because you want to label them for their darker skin. So you get mad at an inner camera, of which that black person can't control, making them lighter. Anyway, that's all I have to say in this video. I'm going to be done. I just don't agree that I don't really call it light skin bleaching or digital bleaching or anything like that. When it's like, could somebody actually talk to LG or whatever phone people have and talk to them? Why are you making inner cameras that are lighter than literally your camera on the front of your phone? Why is that? Why are you making it the camera that is easier to use harder to actually have a defining skin tone that you actually naturally have in real life? Why are you editing people that much on the inner camera? Like, that would be more the discussion than blaming black people who just happen to have cameras that are not displaying the actual skin tone that we have. So anyway, that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and have a great day. Bye, guys.